In light of Russia's increasing military actions throughout Europe, Sweden has reportedly considered casting off its neutral status and joining NATO. Sweden has famously refused to participate in any conflict since 1918, including both world wars. So what does it mean to be a neutral country? Well, neutrality was spelled out in the Hague Convention of 1907, which first defined the many rules of war. Generally, it means that a country has declared their non-participation during a war, and more specifically, cannot be counted on to oppose a belligerent country. A belligerent is what we call countries actively engaged in hostile warfare. There are also non-belligerents who take part in a war through support but do not actually fight. Most countries declare neutrality on a conflict-to-conflict basis. Some countries, notably Switzerland and Ireland, are considered permanently neutral. Switzerland is also one of the few neutral countries to have a significant military force known as armed neutrality. Now, the main draw for declaring neutrality is the fact that no belligerent country is allowed to invade or violate your borders during the course of the war. In theory, this works because it takes you out of the equation. Belligerent countries know that you won't attack them as long as they don't attack you. However, this doesn't always work. During World War I, Belgium was invaded by Germany despite declaring neutrality. Neutrality also comes with limitations in exchange for international protection. Belligerents are expressly forbidden from using a neutral country's land or water to transport troops, send information, or recruit soldiers. However, wounded soldiers are an exception and are allowed to be transported. Additionally, people in a neutral country who want to fight are allowed to leave the country to do so. This was seen with Ireland, where Irish troops fought in British ranks during World War II despite Ireland's permanent neutrality. If a belligerent does, in fact, attempt to invade a neutral country, that country can fight back without losing its neutral status. Technically, only Finland, Malta, Ireland, Japan, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Sweden, Turkmenistan, and the Vatican City are considered neutral. However, not everyone agrees on the list of neutral countries. Although Ireland acts as a permanently neutral country, it is considered more of a non-belligerent and is not a signatory of the Hague Convention. A number of countries within the EU who have never fought in conflicts are unable to claim neutrality due to the EU's mutual defense policy. This means that Austria, Finland, Malta, and Sweden are no longer expressly neutral as EU members. However, the implications of this issue have yet to be directly addressed during an actual war. Although neutrality was originally an important aspect of diplomacy, there hasn't been a far-reaching conflict between superpowers since the Cold War. There is little threat of invasion for most countries, and with fighting limited to individual countries, neutrality looks like it can take a break for now. There are quite a few countries around the world that have no standing army to defend themselves. To check out the list, see our video right here.
Some of these countries gained independence from a larger nation and chose not to create a military because of the relatively small size and the lack of foreign enemies. Quite simply, there isn't enough land, resources, or potential for conflict in those nations to mandate forming an army to protect themselves.
Thanks for watching TestTube, and don't forget to subscribe.